Assalamu alaikum and welcome. In my online class, myself Imran Ahmed, your science teacher of Cantonment Public School and College, Saidpur. This is my second class on chapter 3 of class 8 science book, and our today's topic of discussion is osmosis. So before this I discussed about the diffusion, and our today's topic is osmosis. And to understand this osmosis, at first we need to know three types of membrane on the basis of permeability. On the basis of permeability, membrane is of three types, and one of these three types is very important for our osmosis process. So at first I want to define what is permeable membrane, what is semi-permeable membrane, and what is impermeable membrane. So permeable membrane, the membrane which allows to pass both the solute and solvent. All you know, solute and solvent together mix up and forms a solution. So the membrane which allows to pass solute and solvent both, this is called permeable membrane. And the example of this permeable membrane is cell wall, and this cell wall is present in plant cell. You know, through this cell wall all types of solute and solvent can very easily go inside the cell. So this is the example and the definition. Now the semi-permeable membrane, semi means half. That means this membrane only allows to pass the solvent molecule, not the solute. That's why this is semi-permeable membrane. This semi-permeable membrane is known as differentially permeable membrane or selectively permeable membrane. So in your exam you may have any one of these three names: selectively permeable or semi-permeable or differentially permeable. So what is the example of this semi-permeable membrane? The example of semi-permeable membrane is plasma membrane. So what is plasma membrane? All you know, the membrane which covers the cell in case of animal cell, and the membrane which remain just below the cell wall in case of plant cell. This is the plasma membrane. So this plasma membrane is semi-permeable membrane, and it only allows to pass the solvent molecule. And last one is impermeable membrane. Impermeable membrane, that means it don't allow to pass any type of materials, not solute, not solvent. This is impermeable membrane. An example of this impermeable membrane is the cell wall which is made with cutin and suberin layer. This is a thick layer which forms the impermeability of the membrane. So cell wall with cutin and suberin. So these are the three membranes, definition and the example, and we need this semi-permeable membrane in our osmosis process. So what is osmosis? If we want to define this, then we can say the biological process by which when two different concentrated solution separates by a semi-permeable membrane, and the solvent molecules, only solvent molecule passes from the lower concentrated region to lower concentrated solution to higher concentrated solution, is called osmosis. And how long this transmission of waters or solvent molecule continue? As long as the concentration of both solution becomes equal. So this is the definition. I again repeat this: under same atmospheric pressure and temperature, when two differentially concentrated solution separates by a semi-permeable membrane and the solvent molecule passes from the low concentrated solution to high concentrated solution, is known as osmosis. So to clarify this thing, here I mention figure. Here we can see this is a pot, and here we put a semi-permeable membrane at the middle of this pot, and in one side of this pot we have concentrated solution, and in left side we have dilute solution. As these two differentially concentrated solution separates through this semi-permeable membrane, so after some time the dilute solution, from dilute solution the solvent molecule passes from this dilute solution to concentrated solution, that means from A to B, and as long as it passes, when the solution of two sides become equal, this is the osmosis process. And we also understand this osmosis process very easily. All we eat the dry grapes or raisins, simply kismis. All you have seen this, kismis. This is very shrink in nature, that means all the waters which remain inside the grapes before ripening comes out after the maturation, and it convert into dried grapes or raisins. That means in dried grapes no water molecule is present. So when we put some raisins or dried grapes inside the water, then after some time these dried grapes absorb the water and it becomes soiled up. So here these dried grapes, after putting into water, it becomes soiled up. And how these dried grapes becomes soiled up? By the process of osmosis. All you know, dried grapes is a product of plant, so it contains the cell wall and it also contains the plasma membrane. So cell wall allows to pass the solute and solvent, but the plasma membrane which present below the cell wall, it only allows to pass the solvent molecule, and as the solvent molecule comes inside the dried grapes, and it increases its volume size and it becomes soiled up. So this is due to osmosis process. And here we have lots of importance this osmosis process in our living world. So here I mention 5 points of this importance of osmosis. First importance of osmosis is absorption and conduction of water. All you know in soil 4 different types of water are present, but only capillary water is very easily acceptable water for plant. So this capillary water absorbs by plant through this process osmosis, and by absorbing this water comes in the channel of xylem vessel and finally it reaches to the leaf. So absorption and conduction of water both takes place through this process osmosis. Then opening and closing of stomata. All you know, this osmosis process maintains the rigidity, maintains the water level of leaf, and in daytime different types of chemical substances become active and the water absorbed through the soil, through root hair from soil, and it comes in leaf, and as the water comes in leaf, then the guard cell become turgid. That means by absorbing water it's soiled up, and as it's soiled up it takes its normal shape, and finally the gap which is present between two guard cell opens. So in this way the osmosis plays important role in opening and closing of stomata. You will get more clear knowledge regarding this opening and closing of stomata in intermediate, that means in higher secondary classes. And third importance is cell turgidity and growth. All you know, for growth it needs to divide the cell, and for to dividing the cell, it requires water. It absorbs the water and it completes the intermediate phase of cell division. So this water comes through this osmosis process, and by absorbing water the cell becomes turgid. That means it gets its normal shape and normal size. So for cell turgidity and for growth, osmosis is very important, because for these two activity water is very important, and this water is absorbed or collects through this process osmosis. The fourth one is rigidity of cell. Rigidity of cell, that means without water the cell lost its normal shape and size. That means it becomes wilting. So to maintain the rigidity of cell, water is important, and water absorbed through this process osmosis and maintain the rigidity of cell. And last one is regulate the rate of transpiration. All you know what is transpiration? Loss of water in the form of vapor, which is produced in different metabolic activities which take place inside the cell, and this osmosis regulate this transpiration. Clear? So what I discussed, if I summarize this, then today in this segment I discussed the definition of osmosis and the membranes, three types of membranes, and the process of osmosis, how the osmosis take place and the importance of osmosis, and last of all the things which is not present in your book. This is types of osmosis. Osmosis is of two types. This is not present in your book. One is endosmosis and second one is exosmosis. This is very easy. When water enters from outside to inner side of cell, this is endosmosis, and when water comes out from cell to outer environment, this is called exosmosis. This is not mentioned in your book, but if you learn this, it will help you in future. So that's all from today. I hope this lecture will help you a lot, and if you have any query, then you will direct contact with your teacher. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.